Shabbat Shalom. I'm Jim Kaplan, a Beth Torah member, and I'm pleased to lead worship tonight as Shaliach Tzibor, an emissary of the congregation. I'm joined by Leslie Zucker, our music director, by Warren Sickle and Harris Deutsch, our wind section, and by Larry Myers and Joel Krishover, our rhythm section, and by our technical team. Thank you to the Beyond Our Walls BOW committee for keeping us connected, and to our digital docents for managing the streaming of our worship online. For those who are here tonight, the prayer pages I call will be the page numbers that are in blue in the brackets. And respecting our atmosphere of worship, please silence your electronic devices. We welcome Shabbat together by lighting the Shabbat candles. I would like to invite the candle lighters. Okay. The candle lighting blessing is on page 120.
Seriously.
Is a match.
Mom would not like this.
There you go. Still burn your fingers. All right, good job. All righty. Baruch
Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God,
Sovereign of the universe, bless us with mitzvot,
commanding us
to kindle the lights of Shabbat. Thank you. Toda Rabbah. We continue together on page 121. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. On page 130, we join in singing the first two lines of Psalm 95, which begin, "Come, let us sing joyously to Adonai." Lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, Adonai. Lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, Adonai. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu, nekadma fana b'todah. Naria, naria, litzor yishenu, bizmirot naria lo. Lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, Adonai. Lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, lechuna ranena, Adonai. We greet Shabbat on page 138 with Lecha Dodi, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala, la 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 la. Lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Hishmi'anu el hameyechad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem tiferet v'litchila la 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 l'chadoti, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala. Lecha lecha dodi, likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabala.
Likrat Shabbat,
ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה. סוף מעשה במחשבה
Tila la 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 chado di likrat kala pene pene Shabbat nekabala lacha lachado di likrat kala pene pene Shabbat nekabala hitorari ki vayorech kuri uri shir daberi Kavod Adonai Aleich Nigla la 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 Kadoti Likrat Kala Pene Shabbat Nekabala Lecha Lechadoti Likrat Kala Pene Shabbat Nekabala
Boi v'shalom Atzeret ba'ala Gam b'simcha ובצהולה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה
Lekadoti Likrat Kala Pene Shabbat Nekabala Lecha Lekadoti Likrat Kala Pene Shabbat Nekabala la 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 Lekadoti Likrat Kala Pene Shabbat Nekabala Lecha Lekadoti Likrat Kala Pene Shabbat Nekabala. We continue in the middle of page 145. Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of the withered leaf, on ripened fruits so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Let my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Noam Katz, the composer of the melody for our next prayer, was reportedly inspired by a midrash. The prayer evokes the mood of Adam's first night on earth, alone in the Garden of Eden. As the sun began to descend from the sky, Adam feared that it would never rise again, and he would be relegated to a lifetime of darkness. He then slept until the first gleam of daybreak emerged again from the horizon. The light had returned. Adam realized that this would be the way of God's world, the passing of time, the seamless flow of life's cycles, of light into dark and darkness back into light.
Roll
Into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Page 146.
Yai lai lai lai.
Yai lai lai lai.
Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai la 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 la.
Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai.
Yai lai 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 la 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 la.
Baruch Hu
Baruch Hu
et Adonai.
et Adonai.
Ha'mevorach.
Amen. Am Evorach.
Leolam.
Leolam. Page 151. As you taught Torah to those names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet I struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for me. Did you mean the struggle for me too? Don't let me struggle alone. Help me to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead me into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a symbol between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. Page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before we ever stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Mi Chamocha, page 158. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar v'kodesh, mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, מי כמוך נדר בקודש. נורא עושה, נורא עושה פלא, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה, יא לה לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה לה, יא לה לה לה. Page 160. Grant, O God, that we lie down in peace, and raise us up, our guardian, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel. For your name's sake, be our help. Shield and shelter us beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. For you, God, are gracious and merciful. Guard our going and coming to life and to peace evermore. Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukkot shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asot et ha-Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם בין איניו ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. כי ששת ימים עשה השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת שבת וינפש שבת שבת וינפש na 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 Adonai. Shvatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Ananananana Adonai. Ananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Yagid Tehilatecha. Ananananana Adonai. Ananananana Svatai Tiftach. Ananananana Ufi Yagid
Tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imaot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'neihem, Ma'an Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atah Rab L'Hoshia, Mahashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim B'Chesed, Mechaye Metim B'Rachamim Rabim, Tzomech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asurim, U'Mekayim Emunato L'Shenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, U'Mido Melach, Melech Memit U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmiach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chayot Metim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaMetim, Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, V'Kadoshim b'chol yom Yihalu HaSelah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see wherever we gaze that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, "How filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it." Blessed is the Eternal One, the Holy God, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh. Page 173. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find feeling on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Ever-present One, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands, you are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'odecha levadcha b'yira navod. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us, For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lahodot. We continue reading silently to page 180, adding the prayers that are in our hearts. When you have completed your prayers, please be seated. Say shalom, shalom b'namav, uyaseh shalom aleinu, ve'yakol Yisrael ve'yimru amen. Uyaseh The Mishaberach prayer asks for healing. You'll find a list of some who need our prayers of healing, be it emotional, spiritual, or physical, in the e-news that you received this morning. This list is also linked in the comments section. If you have additional names to add, please type them in the comments section so we may include them in our prayers. For those who are with us, we offer an opportunity to identify those who need our prayers. The words to the Mishaberach are on page 371. Mishaberach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imahotenu They the source of strength. Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. We offer a prayer for those with addiction and mental health struggles. May the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings of strength, compassion, and healing to those of us who struggle with the oppression of addiction, emotional distress, and mental suffering. Surround them with loving kindness, grace, and companionship, and bring them peace. Shebera Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema. The renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say,
Amen.
It's now time for our Simcha moment. If you're with us online, please share a special Simcha, a joy from this past week, by typing your Simcha, be it a birthday, anniversary, or other good news, in the comments section. If you're here in person, we invite you to come up to the Simcha mic, one person or family at a time, and I'm asked to remind you to refrain from touching the microphone because it's very sensitive.
Do not hurt the microphone's feelings.
Yes. Oh, do announce your name.
Oops, look. Never heard that before. Okay. I'm Barb Mendelson. After 36 years of being in my house and home, I moved into an apartment last Friday. So this is my first week in my new home, and so lots of good health, I hope, in it. So there we go. That's all. Thank you. That's a lot. That is a lot.
I will share as folks are walking up. I am very grateful to have made it through the High Holy Days. They actually are over
You're finally
now.
over the, yes.
Hi, I'm Judy Weingarten, and this Simcha isn't really mine, but it means a lot to me. My uncle turned 99 years old today.
Wow. Mazel tov.
My name is Carol, and you may not know this, but on Shabbat morning, if we have bread left over, we invite people to take the leftover challah home. And so I was given that privilege a while ago, and I've kept it in my refrigerator, and I kept promising that I was going to make some challah French toast. So I did. I made challah French toast for myself. And the next day, I helped out a friend, and I told her that I had made challah French toast. And so she said, oh, that's my favorite. So I said I would make challah French toast for her. And so this morning, we had challah French toast with real maple syrup, the way I like it. And I was so happy. And she was too.
Yes. For those of you who are home, you can't see all the hands going up of people saying, oh, me too, I like French toast. I like French toast.
Doug Polsky. Tomorrow's my birthday.
Happy birthday. After Adam and Chava ate the forbidden fruit, they were racked with shame. They covered themselves with fig leaves and hid from God. God asks of them, where are you? The question seems odd because certainly for God to ask, where are you, was not really necessary. Tonight's tale, in honor of your simchas, is about the Rebbe, Reb Bear of Mezervitz. The Rebbe was walking down the road when he heard sobs coming from underneath a few broken boards. After lifting them, he found a young girl crying uncontrollably, seemingly hiding from someone. What's the matter? He asked her. Who are you hiding from, and why are you crying? I was playing hide and seek with my friends, and no one found me, she sobbed. But why is that a problem? Asked the Rebbe. It means that you won. I'm crying because no one even looked for me. Rabbi Mordechai Kamensky teaches that after we commit what we think is an enormous sin, we often wish we could hide. We lose self-confidence and self-interest, but God does not lose interest in us. God still wants to know where we are. God wants us to know that God is looking for us. If God wants to know where we are, shouldn't we want to know too? Thank you for those of you who shared your joys with us tonight. You've raised the happiness of all members of the CBT community. In honor of your events, we offer the following prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. We turn to you now with gratitude as we join in the happiness of those who mark the varied simchas and blessings that they have shared. Adonai be with them now and always. May they be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness now and always. As we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring our sacred community, we join together in song as we mark this sacred occasion. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. This Shabbat, our Torah Parsha is Bereshit. We spend a lot of time reading about how the universe was created, but there's a related subject that is probably more vexing. Why were we created? The question is important in understanding our faith in mankind and our disappointments in mankind, but the why of creation is really an even harder concept to fathom than how the mystical event of creation of the universe unfolded. For generation after generation, we have repeatedly been a painful thorn in God's proverbial side. Why are we here? As we begin Bereshit, God creates the universe day by day. God takes chaos and creates order, makes life from inanimate matter, develops all sorts of flora and fauna. Each day God creates something and then declares that it's good. But then something goes wrong. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs puts it, evil enters the picture, setting in motion the drama of which the Torah, and in a sense all of history, is a record. This thing that goes wrong comes from us, the species Homo sapiens, our remote ancestors, and every generation leading all the way up to you and me. The issue comes from the fact that we are created with free will, choice, and moral responsibility. We're different from other animals. Cats don't really debate the ethics of killing mice. Cows don't worry about global warming. They're just cats and cows. But we can make choices and exercise our free will for better or worse. This ability to speak, think, and choose between two courses of action is our privilege and it's our burden. We can be almost as good as angels, and we can be ridiculously cruel to each other or destructive of the world God gave us. Why would God create a form of life capable of destroying the order so beautifully crafted into our world? After declaring God's own early work satisfyingly good, why on earth, not a pun there, why on earth did God create us? There's a midrash in the Sanhedrin from the Babylonian Talmud that asks and attempts to answer this existential question. When Adonai came to create man, God created a group of ministering angels and asked them, "Do you agree we should make man in our image?" They replied, "Sovereign of the universe, what will be man's deeds?" God showed them the history of mankind. The angels replied, "Let man not be created." God destroyed the angels. God created a second group and asked them the same question. They gave the same answer. God destroyed them. God created the third group of angels, smarter, and they replied, "Sovereign of the universe, the first and second group of angels told you not to create man, and it did not avail them. You didn't listen. So what can we say then but this? The universe is yours, do as you wish." And God created man. But when it came to the generation of the flood, and then the generation of those who built the Tower of Babel, The angels said to God, "Were not the first angels right? See how great is the corruption of mankind." And God replied, "Even to old age I will not change, and even to gray hair I will still be patient." The Midrash takes its inspiration from some details in the first lines of Bereshit. For the first acts of creation, Torah tells us, God said, "Let there be a creation," and there was a creation. For the creation of mankind, however, God says, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." Well, first of all, how can that work? And secondly, who is us? In creating humans, God created the only life form capable of freedom and choice. Only God had those capabilities at that time. This is the only sensible interpretation of "let us make mankind in our image," because God has no image. An image of God would be an idol, and certainly we are not idols. God, we believe, is invisible. God is not the sun or the moon or lightning or the ocean or any of the other objects that people of antiquity worshipped. Sigmund Freud wrote in his book, Moses and Monotheism, that early Judaism's greatest contribution was to worship an invisible God. By worshiping an invisible God, Jews tilted the balance of civilization from the physical to the spiritual. As Rabbi Sachs puts it, the idea that God has no image means that we can't conceptualize God, understand God, or even predict God. God is not a specific abstract essence, rather a presence. When Moses encounters God at the burning bush, God's self-definition is, "I will be what I will be," which essentially says, "I'll be what I choose to be. I'm the God of freedom, who endowed humankind with freedom and who will bring them out of slavery to the expression of that freedom." When Torah says God made humanity in God's image, a key feature is that God gave humans the freedom to choose, which makes the choices of mankind unpredictable to any of us. We have the freedom to act well and the freedom, unfortunately, to act poorly. It only takes a few lines of Bereshit for this to become apparent. Adam and Eve sinned. The first human child, Cain, kills his brother, Abel, and violence fills the world within one generation. In fact, by the end of this week's Parsha, we read, "God saw that man's wickedness on earth was increasing. Every impulse of his innermost thought was only for evil all day long. God regretted having made man on earth, and God was pained to the very core." So, the story from the Babylonian Talmud suggests that the three groups of angels were expressing a dilemma that clearly must have been in God's mind. Why would God, knowing the risks and dangers of creating mankind with freedom of choice, make a species that could, and did, rebel against God, ruin the environment, and oppress and even kill their fellow man? The Talmud answers that God tells the angels, "Even to old age, I will not change. Even to gray hair, I will be patient." God apparently is prepared to wait. After Cain and Abel, it takes 10 generations for Noah to exist, and another 10 for Abraham to come along, but God is patient. No matter how many times mankind disappoints God, God does not change. God once brings the great flood that we will read about next week, and reboots all of mankind, but never again do we read that God expresses such despair. God waits for us to choose better. Rabbi Sachs writes, "God created humanity because God has faith in humanity. Far more than we have faith in God, God has faith in us." We do seem to fail repeatedly in Torah, and even in the history that came later, but apparently God has patience. God waits through our learning how not to oppress, how not to enslave, how not to use violence against our fellow humans, and God doesn't give up. The Talmud implies that is the only possible explanation why a good, wise, and all-seeing God would create such fallible, destructive creatures as us. Apparently, if we look at history, God has infinite patience, forgiveness, and compassion. Theologians and philosophers, it seems, have been looking at religion upside down. The miracle and mystery at the center of religion is not that we have faith in God, but that God has faith in us. Torah teaches that it's our job to behave such that we deserve that faith. Ken Yehiratzon. We join next in the Aleinu on page 586. The rabbis of the 14th century added the Aleinu to the closing of each worship service to end the service on a hopeful note. No matter what our days are like now, our best days still lie ahead. The Aleinu is on page 586 and 591. Please rise.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'teit gedula l'yotzeh b'reshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot hadama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malachei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, v'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Vayom hahu yeh Adonai, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. Vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz, vayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. On page 593, we read together before the Kaddish. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled, it burns, it glows. It is radiant with warmth and beauty, but soon it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down in gutters. There's an end to the flames. We see no more, and we are no more seen. Yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and life. This week we remember those who are in the Shloshim period: Carla Schaefer, Dorothea Polsky, Lisa Berman, Gloria Sherman, Marcia Eisenberg, Robert G. Shaw, and Helen Frankel Bankhalter. And we recall those whose yortzites occur this week: Erwin Block, Irving Bloom, Johanna Bowbreaker, Edgar Broughton, David Cantor, Ronald H. Chapman, Jesse Cohn, Betty Barbara Decker, Bertha Hellman, Betty Horton, Ann Jacobs, Mary Lerner, Janice Norton, Mickey Norton, Lori Phillips, Mary Patricia Pat Sylvia, Emery Taylor, and Deborah Marlene Slade Zach. If you are here to say Kaddish for someone whose name I did not read, please let us know so we include them in our prayers. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing. Kaddish Yotom is on page 598. We stand as a community to support those in mourning. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'alma divrach irutei v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'galav v'izban kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mavarach le'alam al maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'pa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata,
Da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shmaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru
I'd like to call Aviva up for some announcements, accompanied by Aviva's song.
Aviva's song. The announcements are coming, they won't take too long. If you want to do some Jewish, she won't steer you wrong. This is Aviva's song.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much to everyone who made this service possible. Leslie Zucker, Dr. Jim Kaplan, Warren Sickle, Larry Meyer, Harris Deutsch, and Joel Critchever. Also, thank you to Andrew, Jonathan, and Beatrice Kirstein for lighting up the Shabbat candles in honor of Andrew's birthday. And thank you to Barb Mendelson, who will be raising the Kiddush Cup in honor of her new home. Two last thank yous. Thank you to Richard Standridge for welcoming us all home tonight and handing out prayer books. And thank you to Dave Zucker for bringing us beyond our walls and live streaming this service. Also, one last thank you to Marcia and Larry Ripmaster for providing oneg tonight. A few quick announcements. We will come back together tomorrow morning to celebrate Shabbat morning with in-person Sichat Shabbat, our Shabbat conversation in the library, and then our Shabbat morning service at 10:30 a.m. right back here and online. All are welcome to join us. We have 3 new things that I wanted to just very quickly mention, and of course there's more information on the website, in the e-news, all of that. First of all, we just launched Mensch of the Month. So our first Mensch is the one and only Warren Sickle. Warren is our volunteer choir director and also clarinetist. So what's going to happen is, moving forward, starting in November, we will honor the Mensch of the Month the first Friday of the month, because it's a Torah service. Partly, but so Warren will be honored on Friday, November 4th. All are welcome. And moving forward, this is a brand new initiative, but we're going to introduce the person a few weeks beforehand so that we can all know who the upcoming Mensch is, and then come in person to support that person. So that is Mensch of the Month. Next, we launched numerous grief support groups through Kansas City Hospice, and the first one is this coming Thursday. Registration is through Kansas City Hospice. All of the information is online. The one on Thursday is the one standalone class, and then there's a session of 6 courses coming up too. So take a look online, just wanted to mention it. And last but not least, right before Shabbat, we launched $18 off all remaining pick-a parties. So pick-a parties are a wonderful way to do fun things with CBT members and friends. And so we just sent an email before Shabbat, and all remaining parties that have open slots are $18 off the original price. So take a look, 18, we tried to be a bit, Jewish with that. But really, there are many wonderful opportunities to come together. And last but not least, now that the High Holy Days have ended, like Leslie mentioned, we still have a little bit more time to complete the High Holy Day survey. So if you have any feedback that you can give us, we would greatly appreciate it. And it is never too late to make your High Holy Day appeal. Thank you very much. Following the closing song, we'll all go in the Ulam for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, and thank you, Aviva. Tonight's closing song was inspired by the fact that we're reading Bereshit, and it's called 7 Days, and the words are pretty simple, as is the melody, so please do join us.
All right, I'm going to give you one quick run through of the melody, and then we will all sing it together because it really is simple. So I will go and then you go. Lie, 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 lie.
Lie, 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 lie.
And it was good.
And it was good.
That's the whole song.
See?
Only with words.
First day,
Day and night.
and it was good.
Same melody.
Second day, heaven and earth,
Oh,
and it was good. Third day, plants and trees, and it was good. Fourth day, sun and moon and stars, and it was good. Fifth day, fins and wings, and it was good. Sixth day,
peace and humankind.
and it was good. Seventh day,
Shabbat rest.
and it was good.
From the top, here we go.
First day, day and night.
Second day.
Second day, heaven and earth. Third day, plants and trees. Fourth day, sun and moon and stars. Fifth day, fins and wings. Sixth day, peace and humankind. Seventh day, Shabbat rest. And it was good.
Oh,
And it was good.
and it was
Shabbat Shalom.
Take care of each other out there.